Hi guys! We have just come back from our 5th MSC cruise and we thought it was high time we finally did a full review of MSC cruises.
Yeah, this was a cruise that pretty much nearly didn't happen and we had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to get on board the ship. A good tip from us is make sure you've got a really good travel agent because we really relied on travel agents to get through this situation.
Yeah, one that you can really trust really does pay off in spades. Now, on this cruise we definitely had a lot of laughs and some really good highs, but also we had quite a bit of drama.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an MSC cruise if there wasn't any drama, but there's more of that coming up later.
Yeah, so a week is just such a whirlwind of a cruise. So let's see what we got up to and roll VT! A Negroni Spagliato with Prosecco in it, which is a Negroni Spagliato.
Exactly.
Well, that was a lot to pack in, wasn't it, in 7 days?
7 days just flies by.
It does. So this cruise was a med cruise. It was the normal sort of med loop. So we started in Barcelona, went to Marseille, then on to Genoa, Naples, Messina, Valletta, which we love, and then a sea day back to Barcelona as well.
This cruise was the first cruise for my parents, and it was for their
70th?
I wasn't going to say that, but okay.
Oh, sorry, 21st.
Their 21st birthday. It was a very important birthday, was what I was going to say. Sorry, Mum.
Let's talk about Embarkation. We flew out to Barcelona like we usually do on the day before, and we stayed in this a different hotel for us. It was in the Gothic Quarter, right smack bang central, and it was called the Rialto, and it was quite a good hotel, wasn't it?
It was really good price, really good value for money. So yeah, definitely one that we would recommend. I think, certainly for just a night or two before the cruise, it's fantastic.
And the best thing about it was near our favourite restaurant and all our local haunts, so it was very familiar to us.
Barcelona is getting very familiar to us now. But yeah, the next day we went to board the actual ship, and embarkation was super smooth and super quick. Although, because we actually had it split under 2 booking references, although it had a master booking reference, MSC actually had it down as 2, because we did require 2 rooms for this cruise, obviously with my parents cruising as well as us. And we wanted to kind of maximise on our loyalty status.
Yes, exactly.
So we want to maximise on the freebies, let's be honest.
The ship.
This was our first time on the Seaside class, and I have to say, wow, it was incredibly the same but different.
Yeah, it felt like MSC, but it did and it didn't feel like MSC. It looks like it, but it just felt a bit different.
Yeah, if you've been on an MSC cruise, you know what I mean. They have this certain sparkly vibe about them, and it did have that kind of at its core still, but it did feel very different to the Meraviglia Plus classes that we've been on before. There was no central Galleria, which we really do like actually, and it felt like the heart of the ship was maybe a little bit lacking because of that, because things were a bit more spread out down a corridor here, up on a different deck, down on a different deck, and they had done things to try and interconnect the decks, but it still felt a bit
very
separated. I'm sure there were places we didn't find.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it was walking through. How could you explain it? Like higgledy-piggledy sometimes. So I think when you're comparing it against the Meraviglia class, because the Meraviglia class is like one big long sort of corridor or galleria. There's a couple of floors, or promenade, sorry, and there's a couple of floors on there, and then you've got sort of the central atrium area where there's a couple of bars and that up there. Water parks on the back and on the top of the ship. It just made a little bit more sense manoeuvring around that particular class of ship. But there were some things on both classes of ships I think we did and didn't like as well. So what I mean, for you, what do you think were some of the nice things that you found with the Seaside?
Big tick on the Seaview,
sorry,
or the Seaside class of ships, was actually the location of the aquapark compared to the indoor pool.
Yeah.
So on the Meraviglia Plus classes, the aquapark is very much towards the aft of the ship. However, they brought the aquapark right up to it, which meant that we could sit and have a drink in the indoor pool some days, and Josh could still go out and play on the slides and have a great time in the aquapark.
And then when he was finished, we could take him straight into kids because it was right next door. So it was very functioning. I thought that functioned a lot better than the Meraviglia class ships.
I have to say as well, the slides.
The slides were so much better. I mean, they're good on the Meraviglia class ships, but these slides, they were awesome, weren't they?
Although I do have to say, I think my nerves are still just about recovering. There are some nasty drops in some of those slides, and don't be fooled by your child when they say, it's a great slide, it's really cool. It's really cool because it's going to send you into like cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Some other things like zip line, which we'll get on to later as well. There was a zip line, which was good. I think the ship was quite lively, but it didn't feel overcrowded, did it?
No, it never felt overcrowded, and we often say this on the MSC ships. Although they're not that much smaller, the Seaview, and Seaside class therefore felt definitely smaller, less grand. That sounds really funny because obviously we sailed on the Grandiosa, but and Virtuosa, but yeah, it didn't feel as grand as those that class of ships. It feels a bit more intimate. So actually, if that's something you like, a more intimate feeling, it maybe is a better ship for you.
Yeah. Kids Club.
Okay. We do have a full Kids Club tour coming out soon. And we do also, if you want to check out our link above for our full Kids Club tour on the Virtuosa. I would say MSC, for me, I think do a fantastic Kids Club. It's so many activities, such a variety. The Kids Clubs are huge. The kids literally they just don't want to spend any time out of it. They want to be in it. And now, thanks to the restrictions lifting, they literally can dinner's back, lunch is back. I don't think the only meal they can't do and they don't do is breakfast, because Kids Club starts at 9 and runs through till about 11 p.m.
And the good thing is now you can leave your kids on board. Yay!
Yeah, so you can go on shore and enjoy an excursion or explore on your own. You don't have to just be on an excursion with MSC either, which is a big bonus because that's a costly thing and it's free.
The cabin.
So, as we mentioned earlier, we had a bit of a change around on this last minute. So, the location was not one we would have particularly chosen. We were one deck below the pool deck, the main pool deck at that.
Yep.
And it was noisy. It was also right at the aft, which at the night on an evening, after a certain time, the nightclub downstairs starts up. So if you're sitting on your balcony, and when you hopefully tune into our vlogs when I get around to editing them, you'll see our Bevies on the Balcony series.
Yes.
Coming soon.
And you'll hear the noise in the background.
That's the nightclub.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, when you did close your door, it wasn't really, you couldn't hear that at night. Although, when you closed your door during the day and they had activities on the pool deck, your cabin was moving.
Rocking. Absolutely rocking.
Yeah.
So with the, apart from the location, let's talk about the difference in the size of the cabin and the layout.
The first thing to say is all the MSC cabins are lovely. They all have a certain style and feel about them, and this definitely is in the same ilk, shall we say, of them. However, it did feel much smaller in places. It was noticeably smaller. The bathroom was not fluffy cruiser approved. I can tell you
especially that shower.
That shower, that was tight. And normally, I have to say, MSC's showers are more
relatively
big enough.
Generous.
On the Meraviglia Plus, I've never had that issue in. This was cozy, compact. I could certainly get in. I could have a shower, but to turn around, I'd have to kind of step out and walk back in again. And that was a bit awkward and a bit annoying.
Yeah. So I think one of the big bugbearers for me, there was 3 of us in the cabin, and the storage. So on the Meraviglia Plus class, if you've seen our other cabin tours,
check out the
link above. You'll see that there is generally plenty of storage in a standard balcony. So you've got a couple of drawers, you've got a wardrobe, and then over near the desk, there's a couple of other drawers and that. So that's where we usually put Josh's stuff in, and then we put all our stuff in the wardrobe.
Yeah, do you know what? I'd almost forgotten about is in the cupboard. You normally get 3 drawers in that wardrobe in the Meraviglia class ones.
Yeah.
But actually in the Seaview and Seaside ones, certainly on Seaview on our one, you got 2 drawers.
And
the
one was broken.
And one was broken,
which
really didn't help.
Yeah.
But the bottom one was just a solid wooden plank. I thought it was 3. It looked like 3. It's not. It's a solid plank.
There was, for hanging space, there was a lot of hanging space still, and we had to hang a lot more clothes because we just didn't have the drawer space. But 2 drawers for 3 people, it was not great. There was a couple of other little shelves, but our pool safe was just basically hidden behind unusable and hidden behind all our clothes. So the sofa bed,
it was a good size. I think it was a standard. It was pretty generous. Josh could sleep on it, and we could actually have the back cushions down, which was quite nice because actually it meant during the daytime we still kind of had a pseudo sofa. Once our cabin steward had made up the bed very kindly for us, or we made it up. Or I would say Josh, but no, Josh never makes his own bed. But once it was made up, you could certainly sit on it during the day, which made it quite comfortable and meant that you didn't lose that space, which on some cruise lines we've been on, you do effectively.
It's like a bed, and you don't feel like sitting on it, do you? So one bugbearer was that when we got told that our cabin was ready. We went to our cabin. So our normal experience is that because we're Diamond members, we usually would go into the cabin, open the door, everything's there, all our paperwork's all nicely on the bed. There's generally the
Well, that wouldn't be because you're a Diamond member. That would just be
that's normal. But
anyone should have that.
But for Diamond, usually on the first day of embarkation, you usually get your bottle of Prosecco and your macaroons. So when we walked in, we went, there's no soap in the dispenser. There was a lack of coat hangers. There was no information to sign Josh into Kids Club. There was no.
We had also
towels missing.
Yeah, we were missing towels. Even though it's a room booked for 3 people, there was only 2 pool towels and 2 of every other towel. Which, fair enough, we did actually raise to We raised initially to guest services,
yeah.
who told us that actually our cabin steward wasn't starting till 6 and there was nothing they could do. But then when we did finally meet our cabin steward at about 6 o'clock, he was very helpful.
Oh, he was.
He did do everything really quickly for us. Filled up the soap, which was rather helpful. Because actually, and it was interesting though, neither our cabin or our parents' cabin actually they were all missing the same things, hand soap and stuff. So it's kind of interesting that theirs was missing hand soap as well as ours. So it wasn't just our cabin either.
Yeah, and it's just, I know it's the status thing and that, but generally there's a few perks that you get, and when you walk into the cabin and nothing's there, you just don't feel very, you just feel like, well, we're Diamond members and we just, there's no perks. So that was a bit of a downer, but as you said, Tristan, our cabin steward was very good, and he did what we asked him, which was really good.
Yeah, and on the whole, the rooms are lovely. MSC have a very standard, quite a nice style to it, I personally think.
Yeah.
I had most of the mod cons that you expect in these cabins. And just in case you're interested, our full cabin tour will be not above now, because
but it's not, above, but it will be coming out
once
soon.
I get to edit it. So very soon.
An important subject, the food. Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, now, MSC gets a pretty bad rap for its main dining room food.
Yeah.
Although we've actually found it to be getting better and better each cruise we do, and this was no exception. The main dining room food was great. The main dining room service, not so good. We'll come on to that very shortly. But MSC typically have 2 or 3 dining times. On our cruise we had a 6 p.m, a 7:45 and a 9:15.
Yes. Was it 9:15?
9:15.
It was late.
So, yeah, it was very late. And you get assigned that as you're boarding. When we boarded, had put a preference for having the immediate middle dining time to 7:45, and we actually were given the 6 p.m. dining time. So the first day we went to the restaurant. We asked them could we change it. The guy said no problem. We'll put you down on the list and we'll change it for the second day. And do you want to tell them about the drama?
Well, so the drama. This is probably one of our lowest points of the cruise. So as Tristan said, we went up. We wanted to change our dining time. They said, yep, we'll send you a slip with the new dining time and the new table details. And when we got back to our cabin, we did get a slip of paper for the next night, and it had another restaurant and a table on it. So we went at 7:45. We got shown to our table. The waiter pulled our drinks, gave us our menus, and then we noticed that off to the distance, just standing over us, was another family, and that's when things started feeling a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, so they were kind of talking off to one side. The waiter came over and he said to us, "You're at the wrong table."
And we
said, "Pardon,
no.
sorry." And we said, "No, we're not." And he said, "No, you're at the wrong table. You must leave." And he started to shout basically at us that you must leave. You must leave. At which point we said to him that, we had this, we'd been assigned this table, showed him the bit of paper. He took the bit of paper away. He came back a few minutes later, had scribbled it all out, put a new restaurant on there and a different table number, and said, "No, you're at wrong table. You're at the wrong table. You must leave. You must leave." Getting really quite loud now. By this time, the entire restaurant was looking at us.
Yeah.
And it was kind of pretty embarrassing, really. And second day on the cruise, my parents, they're like, "What on earth's going on?"
Yeah.
So we kind of said, "No, can we see the restaurant manager? We need to understand what's happening here." He said, "No, you just need to leave. You need to get out now." Pretty much ushered us out of the restaurant, at which point we managed to find the restaurant manager for that evening, who did sit us at a table.
In the same restaurant.
Yeah. It was kind of really awkward because obviously at that point the restaurant for the rest of the evening, everyone was kind of looking at you talking, whispering under the breath a bit. So we kind of ate really quickly and left for the evening. Slept on it a bit, kind of decided this really wasn't right. We raised it to guest services the next day, and we also raised it with our travel agent. And our travel agent said, "If you don't mind, I'm just going to raise that to her rep in MSC." She raised it to her rep in MSC, who then must have got in contact with the ship, and we were asked to
go down for a
meeting. We met with the guest services manager and the restaurant operations manager, Marco.
Yep.
They were both very apologetic. They had looked through the security footage on the restaurant.
Looked through everything, yeah.
They looked through everything, basically. Could understand exactly what had happened. And they were very apologetic for the way that it was basically, and we said to them, it's not the fact that there was a mistake made, that can happen.
Yeah.
It was that it was just so mishandled in such a poor way. And they totally agree. they said that they were going to re-educate, shall we say, the staff member. And obviously address that. He'd spoken with all his restaurant managers as well, just to reiterate the way that we should handle situations like that. And they...
so they decided that they would give us anytime dining, which is generally reserved for array guests. We weren't looking for anything special, and then he offered us a specialty dining, on MSC. But because we'd already chosen them, we'd sort of said, oh, look, we've already done that. He then came up with the idea, look, why don't we treat you to something a little bit different? So he invited us to Yacht Club for the evening, and that was a really good experience.
It was amazing.
I think the issue is we can't come on camera and slate service or anything without trying and resolve it, and that's exactly what we needed to do.
Yeah, we gave them the opportunity to resolve it, and
yep.
they did spectacularly. I mean, I can't fault it. It was a lovely evening up in Yacht Club. Yeah. So lovely that we might have booked an extra Yacht Club cruise because of that. So thanks, Marco. You scored one for extra for MSC.
But yeah, it's always, things happen. It's just how it's dealt with by the company. And in this situation, it was a positive outcome for us. On board, there is a number of specialty restaurants. And some are the same as the Meraviglia class, some are different.
Yeah, so the first one that we went to was the Asian Market Kitchen. That was a truly stunning meal.
Gosh, that was so good, wasn't it?
It was so nice. Something we've not experienced before, and just, those bao buns were to die for.
You could also have a sushi option there as well. We didn't go for sushi because we're not biggest fish eaters or lovers, so...
No, I had the lamb chops, and definitely they were really good. Yeah, the second restaurant that's on board there is the Ocean Quay restaurant. Mm-hmm. Ocean Quay is a concept only really found on this class of ships. It's a fish restaurant. We did originally book it, however, we liked the Asian Market Kitchen so much that we actually went back to Asian Market and changed it because we're not big fish eaters, as we said. So
would have been a waste.
It would have been a slight wasted on us. There's of course Butcher's Cut, which we love on all of the MSC cruises we've done. Really great steakhouse, very typical normal things. They had cut back in a few places, it felt a little bit, which was a bit sad to see. Instead of two sides in the fixed menu, you only got one side with your main, but it's okay. To be fair, the sides are only cheap, so it's not the end of the world to add it extra in. You've also got the teppanyaki restaurant as well there, which we didn't try. It was constantly booked out the whole cruise.
But it was noisy, wasn't it?
It was very active. It
sounded like a lot of fun there, yeah.
And it sounded like a lot of people had a lot of fun on there.
Yeah. So with the location of the specialty restaurants, they're different with the two different classes. So on the Meraviglia and Meraviglia Plus classes, they're in the Galleria, but they're located over two separate floors. Whereas on the Seaview or the Seaside class, they're in their own little nook. And there is a bar there, which is, I think it's called Chef's Corner or something, isn't it?
The area is called kind of Chef's Corner, but it is quite a nice, makes it feel quite exclusive, I thought.
Yeah.
Although it does mean it is away from the hubbub of the ship a bit, which can be a bit of a, because instead of where you can sit and relax and enjoy watching the kind of ship go by, if you like. Ship go by?
Yeah. The world go by.
The world go by, that's the word. I hope the ship doesn't pass you by as you're going, you've missed the ship. But yeah, you can just it was a bit more, but that did give exclusivity, which is also quite nice. Yeah.
The buffet, or the buffets on Seaview were split into two different restaurants. So there was a main big one on, I think it was on the Deck 8, sorry. And the other one was on 16, which was really convenient for us because we just had to go down the hall and up the stairs and we were there. They did open at different times as well, so... Yeah, it was. There was always an option there.
Yeah, and Deck 16's one is much smaller, but it does often mean that the main buffet isn't as busy as sometimes they can get. So it meant you could pretty much always guarantee to get a seat, and the whole buffet was open, so there's always loads of areas, and it's just repeating itself. Yeah. So there's loads of places to go.
Yeah. The bars. So there was loads of bars on board, but...
It wouldn't be an MSC ship if there wasn't loads.
No, that's true. But they were really open at odd times. So during the day, there was not much open at all. And to try and even get a coffee was an absolute challenge.
Yeah, they seemed to have the outdoor bars open during the day, but the indoor bars closed, and then switched it obviously around. Now, I suppose that does make some sense, although it did mean if you wanted a quite cup of coffee or tea during the day, or just a quiet drink somewhere inside, because maybe it was a bit windy outside or whatever, it was really basically impossible. You had to get one from the other bars and walk all the way down to do it.
Yeah.
He's at it again. Now, there are loads of venues and loads of activities on MSC. That is one thing I would always say. You are never going to be bored on an MSC ship. There is always some form of activity going on.
As we mentioned before, like all the different bars and venues around the ship at night had so much going on. There was trivia, there was dancing, there was karaoke.
There was bingo.
Bingo. Bingo.
There is also as well the theatre, putting on main stage productions. MSC has really improved, I have to say, their theatre shows in recent years.
Yeah.
It is the kind of stereotypical, lots of musicals. They're accompanying for 5 different languages on board, which are spoken. So it is, of course, not going to be the most West End production type show, although they are really good. On this cruise specifically, we didn't really go to theatre. All the shows that were on, we had seen earlier this year on Grandiosa.
And
so
your parents weren't
really
the most keenest, I don't think, at going to the theatre anyway. So
they like a bit more relaxed vibe, sit in a bar, listen to some live music, so they were enjoying that.
One of the other fun things to do was the zip line, and Josh and I did have the opportunity to go on the zip line. It was €10. Was it worth it? I would say no if it was discounted like it was at some points of the cruise, which we unfortunately didn't get to. It was okay, but I wouldn't say it was worth the €10.
And of course, the most important one, which we've kind of already touched on a bit, is the pools and aqua park. Now, the aqua park we've kind of already covered. It was fantastic. Loads of slides.
Yeah.
Loads of fun for the kids. Literally, Josh could spend hours in there, and great location as well. The one downside I would say is the pool. There's only really one main pool.
Yeah.
It was on the Meraviglia and Meraviglia Plus. Once you've kind of got the 2 plus the inside pool.
Yeah.
And the inside pool on a Meraviglia class of ship is double tier, so you get a few more hot tubs as well.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And the pool on Seaview was freezing.
Yeah, it was cold. It wasn't heated, was it?
I don't think
and
it
the
was
back
heated
pool
at
wasn't
all.
either.
And we were still sailing the Med at 30 odd degree heat, and it was
freezing.
cold.
Yeah, it was cold. The spa and the gym.
Now, the spa on board Seaview was fantastic. They are generally pretty good on MSC, full stop. But certainly on this one, it was much bigger than usual.
I thought so, and I liked it a lot more than what I did on the Meraviglia Plus class than the Plus class ships as well.
Now, we did only spend about an hour or so there, but we did manage to set the alarm off in the snow room.
Whoops.
And we did also get to pretty much visit all the main venues on inside there, from the different steam rooms and saunas to the jacuzzi indoor and outdoor jacuzzi, which is a really nice touch. And I know,
what about
Jim. Shock horror, we didn't visit Jim this time.
That was my fault, kind of. I was sick for pretty much 3/4 of the cruise. I had a cold, and so going to the gym was a little bit of an effort for me.
Yeah, that's our excuse for sticking to it.
Yeah, why not? Drinks packages.
So on this cruise, for a change, we didn't actually have a drinks package automatically included, so we did have to buy. Now, MSC offer 3 basic easy solutions, really.
Yep.
You've got Easy, Easy Plus, and Premium Extra. There is also a minors package for kids. But the Easy is kind of the most basic of drinks packages,
house
really.
wine, beers, and soft drink, really.
There is the Easy Plus, which is anything up to €8. And there's a Premium Extra, which is anything up to €13, which is pretty much anything, really. There's a few speciality cocktails you won't get in that. But we have had the Premium Extra on Grandiosa twice in the past year. And it was lovely to try some unusual cocktails. But I have to say, I didn't really miss it that much on the Easy Plus. So we did pay for the Easy Plus on this one. We do like to be a little bit more picky with our wines. We're a little bit snobby, if you will. And we do like to just be a little bit more discerning on our certain things that we do. And we like the cocktails, and actually the cocktails weren't included in the Easy package, really. So we went with the Easy Plus. It isn't the cheapest of packages, and you do have to always figure out, is it going to be worth it based on what I'm going to drink?
Yeah, I think it was like £43 a day and $33 for the Easy. And so when you look at it, you just, as you said, you need to see, are you going to drink as much? But because the drinks are so expensive anyway, it adds up quite quickly.
Selling as we do, coming from the UK and booking from the UK, we do automatically get kind of water and tea and coffee included. So you also have to bear that in mind. If you're quite comfortable just having water, tea and coffee, then you don't need to pay anything extra.
The app, MSC for me.
It generally works pretty well.
Yeah, I thought it did.
The chat was terrible. It didn't work. I kept saying that Justin had left the ship, and I was like, he's sitting next to me.
It wasn't me that had left the ship. Anyone that was on the chat, your parents, you. Every time I went into the chat, it says, this person's not receiving chats, and it's like, disembarked. And I'm like, well, they obviously haven't disembarked because they're sitting here. Yeah. You also got the internet package, and that
I did on the last day. Actually, the internet worked quite well. We just did the standard basic internet package on the thing. I don't see the point in the stream. I was getting pretty decent enough for emails, a bit of basic social media on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
Checked into our flights, which is why I actually took out the internet on the sea day.
But all the things you need to do on it, like, you know, look at the entertainment, book theatres, look at restaurants. It's got all your information on there. It's quite easy to use, actually.
The one thing I would say is it initially to set up onto their internet can be a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Although they have handy people on your first day when you embark on board.
So let's do the summary of MSC and this cruise in particular.
So I think for us, obviously the worst bad point was the drama.
Yeah, the drama, of course, but
they
it was
did
rectified.
recover it well. So I'm not. We can't. Can we hold that? I think we can hold it slightly against them, but equally the recovery was good.
Yeah. One thing is that MSC have employed on their newer ships this smart lift technology. These lifts were, even though they're on the smart technology, it didn't work half the time.
I think it might have been the first generation smart lifts. They were not smart.
They weren't.
They were stopping. It was just it was terrible. Yeah. You waited a long time for the lifts. They stopped on pretty much every floor. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah. On this particular cruise for us, as we mentioned before, the cabin location, it would not have been a location that we would have actually chosen for ourselves. And we could say that, you just be aware when you are booking your cabin, where on the ship you are actually, where you're booking it.
Yeah, and as we said, first impressions count, and our first impressions on board were not the best. And for you, I know definitely.
Yeah, the atrium. I mean, for me, I like an atrium. It's kind of a hub of a ship. It's what makes a ship, I think. For MSC, for this particular class, I found the atrium way too busy, way too big. It was great for them to dance on different floors and that, but it was so loud, and especially where guest services was, every time you were trying to talk to someone in guest services, you couldn't communicate with them because it was way too loud. So I just didn't like the atrium whatsoever.
Yeah, now that's enough of the negatives. Yeah. We don't like to be negative.
No, we want to be positive.
So we're going to finish on the positives.
Yeah.
And definitely the first and top positive for us was, as we discussed earlier, the aqua park and the location of the aqua park was fantastic. I think also the split buffet was really a good idea and actually something other ships could do, and I'm assuming relatively easy to do, but it just meant there was a lot more flexibility. If this area was busy, you could go to the other one.
One thing I really liked as well was that on the back of the ship there was 2 panoramic lifts, and luckily we were actually quite close to them and they weren't as busy as the other lifts, so it was so nice just going up and down those lifts and just seeing the aft of the... it was so nice.
I would say the Meraviglia class of ships does have those on the side, but having them on the aft meant when you were sailing, it was really pretty.
Really, really pretty, yeah.
I have to say, just one final note, the crew, apart from obviously the one person, were truly lovely and couldn't be more helpful. They really did make our cruise. They make any cruise, I think, the crew. Yeah. But they were great. Yeah. They were a lot of them were really chatty.
Yep.
Very friendly on an evening in the bars. Barmaids would learn what we liked, what we didn't like, so they would learn very quickly, especially the ones that we frequented most evenings. They would literally be like, you want a San Miguel, you want an Aperol Spritz, you want a Hugo.
And then I'd be like, no, I want to try something different tonight. Like, mix it up. They go, what would you like? And I'm like, give me a peach-based something or other. So, and they always come up with a drink.
No, let's be honest. A Negroni, Spagliato with Prosecco in it.
No, he did have one, so
I did actually have one just to try it.
Awful, it's awful. Sorry.
Each to their own. I actually thought it was quite nice.
So the question is, would we try the seaside class of ship again?
I would never say never, although I do think Meraviglia class of ships is probably more
I agree.
Our first choice for an MSC one. Although, you never know, World Europa might pip them to the post, so
That's true.
who knows?
That's true. So we've got so much content coming out. We've got some vlogs, cabin tours, kids clubs tours. So just stay tuned. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and please ask us any questions or give us comments. So, but from us, I think that's it. So we're going to say,
See you
see you
soon.
soon.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, like, comment, and share.